there's no reason for you to be on social media. There's no reason for you to be posting on social media. There are infinite studies that show how psychologically harmful social media is generally, how problematic it is to our relationships, to our real world functionality. There are immense problems there. So I think for most people, the answer is you shouldn't have to worry about self-censorship on social media because you just shouldn't even be there. You should be focused on the people.
That's really cool.
You actually
I wasn't
know.
expecting you to say that. We now know the Twitter files are absolutely real, right? When Elon bought that company and that all became public information, governments had a very specific agenda and they had a relationship with the social media company that were doing things on their request. And that was pretty fucking scary. And in particular, as someone who spent time in Australia during the COVID period and experienced the kind of farcical lockdown rules that happened, in particular in Melbourne, where I lived at the time. And you said anything that wasn't in line with what the government wanted you to say, and you were shadow banned on Instagram. You know, my wife even ended up in a situation, believe it or not, where we went to a few protests being like, this is nuts. She posts a picture online. We ended up with police officers at our doorstep because we think someone dobbed her in. One of like her 600 followers or something has like sent it to the police. Like crazy shit happened, right? But the digital world was clearly reacting to its customers, right? Who's paying the bills? The advertisers. All right, well, who are the advertisers? Well, they're pharmaceutical companies. Hello, you know, the breadcrumbs are all there. And people started self-censoring a lot because you would see a post, but you know that that's not what they think because you spoke to them in person the day before. And that's just a very simple example. I also wasn't able to share how I actually felt and thought. And so the idea of freedom of speech was clearly like affected, even if the rules of freedom of speech are still in place, i.e. the constitutional rules that are apparently baked into law in a lot of these Western liberal democracies. But the reality wasn't the case. So to me, self-censorship became quite a serious problem, in particular digitally. And then as a content creator, it's then the platform risk. It's like you could spend years building a YouTube channel and then actually they go, do you know what, guys, you've really not been very good and we don't like you talking about X, Y, and Z. So your community guidelines rugged. One of the things that has come out of this that I'm very excited about is Nostr. And so I'm keen to get your view on whether or not you're interested in that. And I'm trying to post as much content as I can there and interact as much as I can there. And I love that you can zap. And it's a place where you, in theory, cannot be switched off. And so when I post on Nostr, I'm not self-censoring in the sense that I'm worried that someone's going to switch me off, but I'm also more careful with my word because I know it can't be deleted. So unlike a social media post on a traditional platform, it's like, oh, just delete that. Now the company still has that information, but your follower base can't see it. Yeah. So yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? What do people actually think in an environment where they don't feel like they can say how they think? Pretty dangerous in my view.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to dive into like what the specific approach that's best for everybody is. Like it's interesting you say that because I've actually had a lot of good debates with people around Nostr and around me continuing to primarily be on Twitter, on X now. But I think a lot of it comes down to like, what is the purpose of your social media presence? And I think for most people, there's no reason for you to be on social media. There's no reason for you to be posting on social media. There are infinite studies that show how psychologically harmful social media is generally, how problematic it is to our relationships, to our real world functionality. There are immense problems there. So I think for most people, the answer is you shouldn't have to worry about self-censorship on social media because you just shouldn't even be there. You should be focused on the people.
That's really cool.
You actually know.
I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Yeah, I know it's a little bit different than the angle you were taking, and I definitely will touch on Nostr.
No, it's true. Fair play. Like, why even bother? What are you doing there?
Yeah. There's some people, and I mean, like for many people, I think the benefit of social media is just from having like a highly selected group of people that they want to learn from, and they don't doom scroll. They go to those specific profiles, they learn from them, and they move on with their day. But that's a that's a very hard thing to do because these companies are crafting social media to
it's impossible.
essentially prevent that. Like they want you to doom scroll, eyes on the platform for as long as possible is what they're building these things to. They know how human psychology and psyche works. They're building these tools to abuse you. But all that aside, most people, I think, just they don't need to be on social media, and you'll have far more impact and you'll have far less risk of censorship, far less problems with self-censorship if you're just talking to the actual community that you do life with, and you're doing it in a place where you're not being surveilled. So just switching from something like Facebook Messenger to Signal and using that for your group chats, for your family, for your friends, for your local Bitcoin meetup, whatever your actual real community is immensely beneficial. You're not going to have to worry about self-censorship. You don't have to worry about the police knocking at your door because of something you said. It's a much more freeing environment and one that is much better for most people.